in order to kind of keep solving this, since we added 3x over here, we need to do the same thing on this side. So we got to add 3x right there. Then we want to write what we have after this process. So 2x plus 3x becomes 5x. We bring this down, it's still minus 7. This was a 0 pair. We canceled that out on purpose, so that became 0 and it goes away. But we still have positive 18. That plus, remember, is the same thing as positive. Now we have our two-step equation. We have 2 more steps left. We have our x's all on one side, but now we got to get rid of this subtraction and remember this multiplication. So we always get rid of anything that is added or subtracted first, anything that's not next to the x. So we're going to do plus 7, minus 7, plus 7. Those are a 0 pair. They're going to go away. Do the same thing on the other side. We always want to keep these equations balanced. And when we do that, 18 plus 7, those are both positive. 25. Last step, remember, when these are together, it means multiplication. So we have to divide by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So we could write this as 1x, but we don't usually write 1x. We usually just write that as x, right? That's the same thing. So we just write that as 1x. And then 25 divided by 5 is our final answer, our solution, which is 5. You can always plug this number back into the original equation to make sure it does work out, to make sure that it's equal. But in this case, I'm just going to assume that we agree with this, and our answer here is 5. Submit, yes, and there we go. If you don't get it right, that's fine. That's not a problem. Take a look at it. Compare your work to what they did. If there's something majorly different, maybe go back and try it again and see if you can get the same answer. Don't just move on. It's like, oh no, I got it wrong, and then just click next problem. At least take a look and see where you went wrong. You got to learn from it. All right, I'm going to go and clear my drawings. Here we go. We have another one. This one is different, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. I encourage you to go ahead and get started on your Delta Math assignment if you're feeling confident with this. If you want to watch me do another, you can also do that. So negative 4x minus 3 equals negative x. I'm going to write this differently. I'm actually going to write this as negative 1x. Anytime we don't have a number, remember there can be a 1 there. So to make this a little easier to work with, that's the way I'm going to write that, equals 30. And I always, when I'm solving equations, I want to draw a line through my equal sign. That way I'm keeping the right side and the left side, I'm keeping those separate, making sure that I know if I do something to one side, I got to do the same thing on the other. All right, first step here, get all of your x's on one side. Doesn't matter if it's the right or the left, just put them all on one side. So I have negative 4x and negative 1x. I like to get rid of the smaller one. So in this case, the smaller one is negative 4. That is the lower number here. So I get rid of negative 4 by adding 4x. That's going to give me a 0 pair. I have 4 negative x tiles, 4 positive x tiles. If we were using algebra tiles, those are going to cancel out. Here we go. We do the same thing on both sides. Here we have a negative 1 and a positive 4. So these aren't all going to cancel out. I have 1 negative and 4 positives. So if I want to cancel those out, only one of them will, and we're going to end up with 3 positives, or 3x. Okay, go ahead and write down the rest of it. This is another important thing. This minus 3, subtraction and negatives are going to be very similar, very common. So when we have subtraction, we want to write that as a negative number down here. This is only slightly different than the first example. Our x is on the right side here. So when we solve it, we're going to get an x on this side equals our number, our solution over here. Just kind of opposite, but it's the same thing. All right. We're going to get rid of this minus 30 by adding 30. Again, negative 30, positive 30, that's a 0 pair. Got to do the same thing on the other side. -3 plus 30, since the positive is so much bigger, we are going to end up with a positive number. We could kind of write this the other way. We could write this as 30 minus 3. The 30 is still positive and the 3 is still negative, so this is the same thing as this. And this, people tend to have a little bit of an easier way of thinking about it. We're going to get 27, positive 27. Last step, to cancel out this multiplication, divide by 3. We end up with 1x, or just x, divide by 3. We get 9. 9 is our solution. All right, I'm going to go ahead and type that in there. Confirm that that is the answer. Yeah, there we go. All right, so what I want you guys to do is to make sure you're logging into your Delta Math and try this topic. So try, this is the 3-step equations, 3-step linear equations. Do that one first, especially if you've been keeping up so far. If you haven't been keeping up with your assignments, maybe try one of these first, the 2-step or the linear equations with distribution.